Welcome to 2B2T No Life. 2B2T No Life is a video series where 2B2T content creators fight for the title of Biggest No Lifer through a series of games and death challenges. It's like Last Life, but with 2B2T players. The rules of the game are simple. Everyone gets 3 lives and must work together to acquire resources and secure a base. But on a player's last life, all alliances are cut off and they must kill, steal, and grief to make sure they don't lose. Think of it as Minecraft hardcore, but with 3 lives. Oh, and it all takes place in 2B2T spawn, except we've also loaded 1.18 chunks underneath it and set a world border of 1,000 blocks. Traversing the dangerous map will be a test that only the most experienced Anarchy players can overcome. Most people can't even escape spawn without dying. We'll have to live here. Each creator will have a different perspective leading up to the final showdown, so make sure to tune into them all so you don't miss a single beat. Special thanks to Turbin and Orson for getting the server plugins running, and to Bezopassin for bringing us all together. This is 2B2T No Life.
So, let's see. Alright, I guess we can go ahead and start. So this is going to be 2B2T No Life. We got a lot of things planned, a lot of games planned.
Cool.
And to start off, some of the rules that we got going on, the border is going to be 1k by 1k. So it's going to encompass a good chunk of spawn, but not necessarily like a lot of spawn outside of it. So we got some cool stuff in it. We got like empathy, like we also got like the Wrath Outpost and Jaredtown too. Jaredtown's also on the map. So some iconic spots to go visit. And then also the border as well. I would recommend not getting close to it. It will kill you immediately upon hitting it. So,
if you touch it, it kills you?
yeah, like a death border. It's gonna like electrocute you.
What if I took like a boat and I didn't touch it, but I went through it?
It would probably still kill you. I think it's just the proximity to it.
What's the proximity?
Just don't touch it.
Just don't touch it. Just do not touch.
I want to have a Finding Nemo moment with somebody where we try to touch the boat, you know?
What is the proximity?
Yeah. I mean, it's a risky game though. Risky game.
I
I got about 1 block away from it when I was testing it.
So you can get up about 1 block close to it.
Somewhat.
Okay.
I haven't tested it enough though, so I don't really know. But yeah, the border's gonna be 1k by 1k. We'll kill you, and then also
It'll be like
with 3
less than
different lives.
1.2 blocks.
Yeah, we're just gonna start with 3 lives. So every time you lose 1, you know, until you get to your last one, you won't be able to kill anybody. But once you do get to your last one, you can start killing, stealing. All the rules are off. Yeah.
Once you get to 1 life, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so once you get down to 1, you know, you're all good to start attacking people, but until then you gotta like play PvE until then.
Aha.
So if I have 3 lives left and someone with 1 life left attacks me and tries to kill me,
That is a good question. That's a great question. You can kill in self-defense. If you are getting attacked by someone with 1 heart, you can attack in self-defense.
Okay.
Aha.
Alright, and I think that pretty much covers everything. Yeah. Once your last life is gone, there's no coming back. So, you know, use your...
Yeah, so you're going to spectator.
Every session will be a different game. So let's go ahead and start the session now.
Oh, dang. What's happening?
here
Oh
we
yeah,
go.
you might want to
Wow,
jump
you're
off.
using your sprint and everything too. You are jump sprinting.
He's going balls to the wall.
I recommend everybody jump off first.
Oh,
every session.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I need new health.
Like we haven't
Everybody,
started
mass
yet.
suicide,
Okay,
mass
I
suicide.
Mass suicide with the boys.
Wait a minute. I've not respawned back up there. Is that all right?
Yeah, I'm killing myself until I spawn back up there. There's
Water, you know, go ahead and take the water way down.
Literally kill yourself.
Hey, I'm just gonna take this crafting table. Might need it later. There we go.
Ooh, smart idea.
Oh my gosh, okay, we have lives now. We have lives.
We
Oh.
have lives. Yeah, no.
Oh God.
Wait,
No funny
what's
business
happening?
anymore.
Wait, what's happening?
We have lives. We only have 3 lives.
Yeah, it's also describing some stuff that I might not have gone over, but it's kind of the rules.
I don't want to life.
Yeah, this session's just gonna be everybody trying to gather stuff to start off with. No game this time. No game this time. That'll be next time. Yeah, we're just chilling, trying to get some materials.
Deloaded, my love, where have you gone?
I have no fucking clue.
Alright.
So already right off the bat, we can see me very desperately trying to claw my way through these cobble lava casts. Just a little bit of information that was really not given out in the main little meeting here. We are playing on a world download of the 2016 2B2T Spawn map. And so this is how Spawn was essentially in 2016. So all of this stuff, like I can remember things about this map, like for example, there are signs that will probably flash by really fast by a player named Skataris. Skataris left his name in Netherrack and Netherbrick, and like he just put it everywhere in late 2015. And so I want to say this map was pre-Rusher War. You can see little bits of it out there to the corner if you really look. You can see a little lit fiery Netherrack, so if you pause the video, you can see it there. That's a little bit of his name, Skataris. And there's just a general cobble hell everywhere. And so you can see me very nervously beginning to bridge out to this lava cast because the server itself was hosted somewhere in like Germany, I think. So there was always like a momentary bit of latency you could just feel. And my usual 2B2T trick of feeling for when a block is placed by your hand bobbing up and down, yeah, that trick doesn't work anymore. It used to work really well in 1.12. That's how I would avoid falling into the void a lot of times when building Space Valk 3. If I placed a block and my hand bobbed up and down, I knew the block placement went through and lag wouldn't get it out from under me. So you can see me kind of peering over the edge more and more here as I stair-step my way down and take a little bit of a tumble here or there, but it's overall good. So I start walking down one of the main highways here, just checking my coordinates to see where I am precisely. I was also kind of misled by what I was told. Bezos says in the earlier meeting that the world border is, the world itself is 1,000 by 1,000. But Bezo actually meant that the world border was at 1,000 itself. And what that basically meant is the map is 2K by 2K. And so it's not just a matter of, am I close to the border? I'm actually not that far. And so I find this this nether portal and realize that we have a fresh nether. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can get some good shit from the early game, open nether here. And I see these piglins absolutely devastate a hoglin. And then I start absolutely devastating hoglins just to be safe. Because this is free food right here. Like, I don't think anybody else really figured this out right away, is that you can very quickly just get not enough food, but a decent starting bit of food. And so I start quickly using the mushroom wood as a fuel source, turning it into sticks. Then we get a few newer people joining. And I start getting gold so that I can get a gold helmet or gold boots, whichever, to avoid the piglins messing with me, basically. Of course, I try to carefully get this hoglin. Food is everything. It's more precious than gold currently. Then we see our first death with Momana. Spoiler alert, she won't be around for very long. Then, of course, I get chased by a bunch more hoglins. This is just me trying to, keep the food rolling. I get a bunch of leather as well, but there's no source of sugarcane as far as I'm aware. So the leather is actually probably useless. I ended up getting kind of frustrated looking for diamonds later on. And like, I have just enough diamonds plus obsidian plus leather to where that if I could just get 3 pieces of paper or 3 sugarcane or something, or even 1 sugarcane, I could probably have gotten enchantments episode 1, but that just never quite happened. So I get me a gold helmet together and I get all the usual goodies, start everything, pick a fight with some more More hoglins. Good God, they hit hard. They will throw your ass up into the air like a forklift. They'll just hurl you to death. We get a new joiner. I forget who it is. Mostly inconsequential right now. This is mostly just the gathering stage. This first episode is primarily just to get stuff like diamond armor, weapons. Sleuthing dies, so this is our second death rather. Get a little bit more gold on the off chance that it is useful. I was thinking about piglin bartering, considering I can get lots of gold easily. But then I kind of just thought, well, what am I going to get from piglin bartering that I wouldn't be able to get better from, just regular old caving? And so it's at about this point that I decided to, double back. I get enough wood here, or mushroom stuff, convert it all into sticks because it's useless as planks. I don't need to make wooden tools, and I don't think you can make a shield out of mushroom wood. If you could, I missed out. I didn't have actual wooden planks with which to make a shield, so I didn't end up getting a shield this way. But I did end up getting pretty much every other major necessity. Another thing that I thought about after the fact that I kind of wish I'd thought about while I was in the Nether was glowstone dust. If I'd thought far enough ahead to do that, I could have gotten a decent amount of glowstone dust. And good God, all this area looks nostalgic. I just so happened to be passing over Basti VC's spawn trench that started like right as soon as the Russia War started. So I think that's where that kind of places this world download. Oh, and you see the border right there. This places this world download somewhere around the middle of the Russia War. So it ends up working out that, that was right after everything gets, basically ruined because of rushers. But there's still enough underground minerals and stuff that I can kind of get some traction. Basically, I'm having to resort to even using, coal from this or that, getting iron, the works, basically, all the early stuff. But yeah, if I'd back to my glowstone thought, if I'd thought to get glowstone dust, I could have doubled my arrow count, because if you use 4 glowstone dust and an arrow, you get 2 what are they, glowing arrows or I forget what they're called. They're arrows that give the glowing potion effect to any mob that you hit, including players. And glowing isn't really like super useful, but like having double the arrows is probably going to be super valuable later on. And so not having that is, I hope I don't end up regretting it, but thankfully I will have lots of time in the next episode to hopefully get that glowstone dust and do it. I even end up getting some glowstone dust later from a witch and from, I think, just a regular block that I broke. And it never occurred to me to gather that glowstone dust, and so I'm really hoping that doesn't end up being a big problem. And so I kind of hear a bunch of spiders, and I'm like, oh, well, I can get some string for a bow, and I don't ever find the spiders. Wherever they were, who knows. So I end up going back down. It's at this point that it dawns on me that we're in 1.18 and that the new chunks have generated under everything else. And so all these old bedrock caves that were once upon a time just sort of dead ends because withers were there. There are no withers on this map, by the way. Oh, and we see sleuthing is down to his last life. Yeah, that's another person who ends up not being an issue. We end up just sort of walking around. I kind of got paranoid because I was told that the border would be 100 blocks closer, so at 900x. So the world map would shrink to 1800 by 1800 next episode. This episode, it's at 2K by 2K, and so I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to put a buffer of about 100 blocks between me and the border just because I don't know what will happen. This is just more of us going, oh, another person died. I break into the new caves finally. It's really interesting to see the bedrock transition to deep slate now, especially in an older map where I'm like, oh yeah, this was once just, just stuff. And yeah, like it ends up being a really lucrative cave dive. I do find enough diamond for moderate use. I don't get enough for a full set of armor, which is what apparently everybody else got, so I'm kind of behind in that regard. But like I did some decent caving and I got some decent shit. Like I'm not that bad off. I'm just not great off. I even end up doing the math, and I need like 21 more diamonds or something by the end of the episode. So it ends up not really mattering too much. I got enough stuff for like bows. I got some gunpowder. I might make TNT. I'm not really sure if I'm going to need it or not. I find out that angering zombies in a dark cave deep down is probably a bad idea because they'll all fucking mob you. Ends up being a problem later on. I don't end up really getting hurt. I don't die this episode, so don't worry. It's really just a resource gatherer. I'm just really good at, keeping my wits about me and getting good stuff as much as I am capable of finding. Apparently everybody else found things like lush caves, and so they had a much easier time of it than I did compared to like the mob count and like diamonds and shit. I finally figure out that if I kill... Oh, and there's another death by Sirach Drip. I finally figure out that if I kill zombies using a lava bucket, it doesn't aggro them. If they die to fire, who gives a shit? Zombies still hone in on you just because that's how zombies are programmed. But like zombies from farther outside your render distance don't mess with you. So I'm just sort of trawling around in caves now, trying to get some iron. I'm not really worried about iron. It's more diamond that I'm after at this point. But then I kind of realized that I'm not getting the diamond quantities that I need. And so I should at least have some iron armor to at least not be naked. Oh, fuck off, cat. So it's more just... Oh, and then we have another death with Sirach Drip. And it's just more of the same sort of, figuring out where I am in relation to the border, constantly checking F3. I'm not really worried about other players, even though there are people who are on a last life by this point. For those of you who don't know, the last life system is you can attack other players at 1 life. And so Sirach Drip, Sleuthing, and eventually Momana will all have 1 life, which means they can become a threat. However, we're so far underground, and I'm so far removed from everyone else, it really doesn't matter. And also, these are the scrubs. These people eliminate themselves. Basically, I'm trying to not be thrown off a ledge here by a skeleton. I end up sort of making a jump for it. End up shooting them from a distance, lavaing the rest, and just sort of moving on. There's not a whole lot to really be said here. There's no real strategy. I'm just trying to get lucky and find diamond. These caves are absurd. It never really occurred to me just how deep they really go. And I get lucky here and there, and that's enough for some good tools, but I really don't end up getting enough for armor. And I was trying to keep 2 diamonds just on the off chance that I do somehow find paper and can get, and I was even gathering obsidian here, just so that I can get an enchanting table and then I could have enough for another portal on demand too. So like, I was hesitant to use those last 2 diamonds, even though I already have a sword and stuff. So like, I'm really just kind of not getting what I want, basically. Latency is, of course, making it hard to fight creepers at times. I'm deathly afraid of them popping up in front of me and exploding when I'm unable to really react. Foreskin loses a life. I think Foreskin just joined and died because he didn't realize that that beginning platform we spawned on was, of course, at the very top of spawn, so you could easily just fall to your death not realizing. And yeah, that's kind of what happens to them. This is why it pays to get an early start and be on time so that you know what is going on and you don't end up putting yourself at a disadvantage. Sadly, whoever ends up joining next episode is probably going to be in a bad situation because I've been told that if you haven't gotten this gear up here, it's going to be a lot harder for you to win. But I have no idea exactly what we'll be doing next episode. They've been very tight-lipped about that. And I can't really blame them. It's supposed to be a bit of an element of surprise, so, that's fine. I'm just kind of anxious that I wasn't capable of finding enough diamond, and I really hope that doesn't end up being a limiting factor. But other than that, I'm finding that it's about this time that it dawns on me that while my positioning is good, I cannot get enough food. There's no real source of anything down here, and I've lit up almost all the major section of the cave, and so other than whatever tiny bits of diamond I find later on, there's nothing down here for me. That's it. Like, I've lit up most of it. I've used most of my sticks. There's no source of wood down here. There's no coal down here. There are very few diamonds down here. I do kind of realize that I need gravel for flint on the off chance that I end up needing, although there's no way to get feathers, so there's no way to manufacture arrows. But I was hoping there would be. And so there's my supplies are going to start dwindling here, is my point, especially food. We'll see me have to make a new trip to the Nether here very shortly. And it's just, I figure out gold is probably useful for piglin bartering on the off chance that I do end up getting some things. Like, I can get glowing arrows from piglin bartering. There's really not anything more other than just fire resistance potions, which is probably a huge boon. I might even be able to get, because I can get string from Striders, I can get the glowing blue mushrooms, and I can maybe make a fishing rod, and so I can, if I get really lucky, I can get a saddle, I believe, from piglin bartering. I didn't get a saddle from this dungeon here. I did find a spider dungeon, and I thought about farming it for string for a bed, but I'm going to go for a spawn anchor instead in the next episode. And yeah, like, there's just no point to really bothering with overworld stuff. I can get some good stuff here a little bit, but that's about it. I seem to do nothing but run into dead ends. And so I end up having no choice but to kind of call off my little underground expedition about, I forget when. I start digging up here. I also get a Protection 1 book from this spawner. And so if I get enough iron, I could probably put this on, I don't know, my chest plate or something. But Protection 1 alone is really not good enough. Although now that I think about it, it dawns on me, literally right this second, that is a boon. That is an incredible boon. I'm so glad I don't make an anvil here, so I don't waste the book. Because even though Protection 1 is Protection 1 on something, it just dawned on me. I can make a millstone and get the enchantment off the book to have a raw book to then put. So I now actually have enough stuff for an enchantment table. It didn't dawn on me in the moment. It just occurred to me right now that I need to be doing that. That is an incredible advantage, having enchanted gear where nobody else will have enchanted gear. I also go to get water and go AFK here, so that's not really important. I'm not really in any danger. Nobody with 1 life is likely to stumble upon me, so that's fine. I just end up getting more stuff, more iron, more of the usual junk. I find another section of cave. My food is beginning to really run down low. I'm taking a lot of hits from skeletons primarily. I need their bones and their arrows because, duh, that's just such a valuable thing to have. And I end up basically just seeing that this is another section of cave that is kind of okay, but not like super viable. I don't think I even find any diamond in this wing of the cave. I even go as far as to dive into one of those tiny little aquifers here in a minute. And there's absolutely nothing in there. It's just such a waste. But I do at least get enough stuff to kind of justify the cave diving. I might go cave diving again near 0-0 next episode, just to see if there's anything there that nobody's really touched yet. More diamond. Oh, and we see Deloaded lose his first life. More diamond would be tremendously helpful. So obviously that would be something I would hope I could get. Deloaded died in lava, and so I was conjecturing that Deloaded maybe lost some of his stuff. And he did lose some of his items, but not everything. You can check out his episode later. So I come up to the surface, or at least the intermediary part of the surface. This was once bedrock level, as you can now see. It's hard to believe that Withers once prowled this lower area. And like, yeah, like this is 2B2T. It really does look like 2B2T now. It's so strange because that wasn't at all what anything was. And now here we are in main 2B2T area. It's just so nostalgic. And so I'm gathering more coal for torches and for furnace fuel. Smelt up some more iron. Just do the usual. Trying to consolidate my inventory now. I really kind of wish I had thought about the millstone idea in the moment now. But I'm very glad I thought about this right now, because this is kind of like a second look at all of my efforts. And so I can sort of re-strategize and reposition myself beginning next episode. We film every episode every Saturday, so that has not yet happened. So I still have the chance to get enchanted gear, which if I can get more diamond at 0-0, enchantments are going to be perfect. Especially if I can get diamond armor, I can rock protection 1 diamond with like no effort. And I really don't know if anybody else will have that kind of an advantage. I haven't even looked at anyone else's episodes yet. So I'll definitely be doing that to help re-strategize and figure out more of what I want to do. This is more just, again, smelting the garbage I've picked up, consolidating my inventory. I'm thinking heavily about piglin bartering, but I haven't really considered it just simply because it doesn't give me anything immediately valuable right now. Other than the glowing arrows, but I forgot glowing arrows were a bartering thing. And so I'm kind of going farther out in the nether. The nether is an interesting prospect because the nether is also 2k by 2k. And so while you can't and really shouldn't go too far out in the nether, oh, and here we see Momana fall to her last life. You really shouldn't go too far out in the nether, because if you make a portal, you know, beyond like 110 in the nether, you're going to appear beyond the world border in the overworld, which will immediately kill you. And so obviously that's not a wise idea, so I don't travel too far out in the nether. But in retrospect, looking at it now, I did think after the recording was done, I might have found some stuff in like a nether fortress, so maybe exploring the nether is more valuable than that. But at the very least, we've got a really good food biome right at spawn. And so I was also considering doing something, you know, with that. This is mostly just me enjoying using a lava bucket as I'm killing the last few minutes of the session. Each session's about 3 hours long, so I'm about able to cut this down to almost 30 minutes. We don't really see too much happen here other than just me wrecking face, everybody talking in Discord about how this or that person is low. There really isn't a whole lot going on here. There's no incentive for me to really do anything right now. I go back to spawn, just kind of scope out 0-0 because my plan is to go down to 0-0. Oh, and then we see Momana die permanently. She is now out. Sad, but that's it. And so now I'm thinking maybe I can make something happen going forward. We'll have to see. I'll see you guys next time.